Hello all. Now we're going to discuss challenge 5. This is the URL for challenge 5. So if I copy this here in my browser, uh, then you will find the SQLi 5 is a simple search form. So if I search for database admins, then the query which is then you will see that there is a search.php which is called. There is a parameter called job title, and the parameter value is database administrator. So we're gonna play with this parameter value job title, a parameter name job title. So if we inject a single quote, that breaks the query and we don't see any results, which is what we expect. But if we do say and 1 equal to 1, that brings results and the query is syntactically correct, which kind of leads us to SQL injection. What if we do and 1 equal to 2? That results false and we don't see any output, which is good. What about the comment characters? Can we use simply 1 equal to 1 hyphen hyphen? When you use hyphen hyphen, make sure you always have a space after hyphen hyphen. So plus stands for space. That's because you want to separate the hyphen hyphen character, and maybe the application is adding something at the end of your input. So just to make sure that hyphen hyphen is read by the application, it's always a good practice to have a space character, which is the URL encode of space is plus sign after the comment character. So that kind of confirms it's vulnerable to SQL injection. If we do and 2 is equal to 2, again we see the same results. So that is a blind SQL injection. So we are going to use SQL map to exploit this. So we're going to copy this URL and give it to SQL map. Now I'm going to use Kali Linux, and inside Kali Linux I'm going to make a connection to the VPN, which is what you will find in the instructions. So if I connect to the VPN, it should not take long. Okay, sorry, the VPN connection is already active on wire 1, so I'm just gonna disconnect this. Let me just verify if I can reach the SQL lab. This address I should be able to ping. Okay, I can't reach it, so I need to start the VPN. So let's just see if I can connect to the VPN. Okay, now I think the VPN is okay. So now I have just resolved the VPN connection. Essentially what I'm using here is I've got the VPN connected in Windows. So if I show you my connections here, then you will find that in my Windows I'm connected, and I'm using Kali Linux in a VM player. And if I show you the settings of Kali Linux, then just give me a second. Manage virtual machine settings. Then you will see that I am using the adapter in the NAT mode. So I don't need to have another VPN connected inside Kali Linux. I can just access the hosts on the SQLi lab in Kali Linux via the Windows VPN. So if I just try to ping a host 192.168.2.11, that's where our application is hosted, I can ping it from my Kali Linux without needing a VPN. So that gives you an idea of how to set it up in Kali Linux. Now we're going to use SQL map to exploit blind SQL injection. So this is the URL. I'm copying it to my clipboard. I fire SQL map with -u parameter, paste the URL in, and then provide an argument -SQL-shell. Okay, now if I can just zoom this in a little bit. So this is what I'm doing: SQL map -u URL and then --SQL-shell. If I run this, then it's going to test the parameters. It has found that the backend database is MySQL. It has found it is a blind SQL injection, so it did tests like these. And now it has dropped me an SQL shell, so I can issue commands like select @@ version, and it's gonna retrieve the info 5.5 point something. You could use threads option as well to speed it up. We request you to run maybe one or two or maybe at best three threads at most against our lab, so that everybody gets fair chunk of the bandwidth. So that gives you an idea of how to exploit blind SQL injection using SQL map. Now let's go back to the question sheet and see what are the objectives. So the objectives were: which parameter is vulnerable? We've identified job title is vulnerable. What is the current username? So we can run a command like select user in MySQL, and you can see the output of select user is 5 at localhost. Similarly, we can now the question was the next question was which table contains column flag, and obtain the flag. So we're going to query the table information underscore schema dot columns. So we're going to find out select table underscore name from information underscore schema dot columns, where column underscore name like percentage flag percentage. So basically anything which looks like flag, I want to know all the table names which are in the backend database. So it's going to fetch it's going to fetch the rows. So let's get all the output. And you can see there is a table out there called hidden, which contains a column called flag. Let's just remove the percentage character and just verify that the column is called flag. And you can see the column is actually called flag. So now all we need to do is read this column from this field. So we can do select flag from hidden, and if we retrieve all the output, then it says flag is 281903, and that gives you pointers to how to finish challenge number 5. That's it for now. Thank you so much.